When I was younger, I spent most of my days playing PS2 on my parents' basement. The games that were constantly on rotation were Ultimate Ninja 5 and Bleach Blade Battlers 2. I played countless hours of these. However, as I grew up, new consoles came out and I never owned a PlayStation 3. And now as an anime games YouTuber, Bleach Soul Ressurreccion is one of my biggest flaws as a creator. Every time I saw this game, I thought, damn, this looks kinda good. How come nobody talks about it all the time? How come it has a Metacritic score of 58? So, I ended up buying it, and I paid way too much money for it. Paid way too much money for something that, yeah, people were right about. This is a massive cash grab, which is the exact opposite of today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by Bespoke Post. This is a monthly membership club that delivers you these boxes. But what's in the box? It can be a lot of stuff. It is based off a preference quiz that you can fill out when you first join. But it can be outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing. There's a lot of stuff in these boxes. So every month they would send you one of these. For instance, they sent me the Terra box. The Terra box includes a bar of activated charcoal, smells great. This little device built to make bird noises. And the highlight of the box has to be this. This is a good knife. Every box has at least a $70 retail value, but you are only paying $45. And on top of that, Bespoke is giving you a 20% discount off your first box if you click the link in the description below and enter code Globku20 at checkout. Also, what comes in the box isn't random. They tell you exactly what's coming each month. And if you don't like it, you can just swap it for something else. And if you're swapping, here's my recommendation. The Weekender. This is what I took on vacation this year because it is just the best travel bag that I have right now. This is stylish, old school, has plenty of space, and it's super easy to pack. So follow the link down below and enter code Globku20 at checkout, get 20% off your first box, and just get some cool stuff in the mail every month. Thank you Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Alright, so since I never owned a PlayStation 3, I asked my good friend Warrock if I could borrow his. And here it is. Good old PS3. Then I searched for the game in the used market and ended up paying 25 euros for it. Is this game worth 25? No, but unfortunately it doesn't end there. I put the disc into Warrock's PlayStation 3 and then nothing. Just absolutely nothing happened. It didn't work. So now I don't know if I have a bad disc or if I have a bad console. I know Warrock never had a problem with it, but these disc readers sometimes just stop working out of nowhere. So I went back to the used game store, I explained the situation, and they ran a test over there. On the spot, put the game in their own PlayStation and it started running. The game launched just fine, which meant the problem was the console. Now, I had already made plans to play this game this week and make a video on it, and I needed to make it happen this week because there's the future video coming on the channel and I need to have played this to make that video. So, I bought a PS3. This is the console I bought, the super slim PlayStation 3 with 500 gigabytes of internal storage. It cost me 100 euros. And I don't actually know what I'm gonna use this for in the near future. So I just spent 125 euros for an old Bleach game. And turns out the game isn't even that good. It starts in Hueco Mundo, taking you through that whole arc until your final fight against Aizen. At the start, it actually looked like a good game, like I thought it was. The movement felt great, flying across these big areas was awesome. And then you have some basic hack and slash action, some combos, some specials, your projectiles go really far. The graphics still look good nowadays. For a game that came out 10 years ago, that's really impressive. I bet the graphics were insane back then. That said, I wasn't expecting this to be such a dumbed down Musou type of game. It is straight up a Warriors game without bases, with very linear maps, and extremely underwhelming boss fights. I think fighting a Menos Grande is actually a lot more fun than most of the boss fights in this. And because it dumbs down the format so much, the whole game becomes so repetitive. Story mode basically has a level for each character, covering the major fights in the arc, but it also skips a lot. Barely has any storytelling. Most of it happens before the mission in this little text. But during gameplay, there are barely any cutscenes, and they cut so much of the story that if you were trying to learn it while playing, none of it would make sense. Here's an example using Chapter 3. The text says that Ichigo was defeated by Ulquiorra, but then Grimmjow secretly steals Horihime to heal Ichigo's wounds. He does this so he can settle matters with Ichigo. What do you mean? First of all, who the hell is Ulquiorra? What matters does Grimmjow want to settle? I never fought him before. What the hell is this guy's problem? Now, I watched the show, so I know what the story is. But if you're coming into this fresh, they drop all this stuff on you with no context. And then I found out why they did this the way they did. They didn't make Grimmjow's base model. They just made his resurrection form, his awakening. So that's why you didn't have a fight against the base Grimmjow before. And even though you're given this preamble, the level starts and it's the same level structure similar as all the other levels. You know, picture the situation that the game is pitching. Grimjaw is standing next to Ichigo while Orihime heals him so he can fight him. So why am I playing as Ichigo, going through all these smaller hollows, running towards the boss fight at the end of the level? Shouldn't Grimjaw be there already? I'll tell you why that isn't the case. Padding. They have tried so hard to pad this game in so many places just to give it some more playtime, and they still failed horribly. Story mode from start to finish is less than 3 hours long, and what's left after that is a mission mode, which is exactly the same as story mode, but you can select the character you play as. That's 125 euros I'm never getting back. You're going in the closet now. I would say, however, that this game does have a few ideas that I think could be translated into something that we might call the dream Bleach game. The first one is how different most characters play from each other. These movesets suck for the most part. They are way too limited. But because the movesets are limited, that allowed them to make a pretty big roster for this type of game, and they had unique ideas for each character. Let's take Hollow Ichigo, for instance. This guy's basic combo throws the sword away at some point. And when you're without the sword, your special is much stronger. So that's a cool gimmick. Byakuya's basic attack combo can be delayed. If you delay the first attack, the petals of Senbon Sakura will travel further, so you can have a ranged attack that way. Ishida's melee combo sucks, but he can combo ranged attacks, and his block actually damages enemies. So even though the movesets are very limited, characters behave differently. They were able to come up with a bunch of small gimmicks that I wish they had taken further. Each character also has this huge talent tree that is expanded every time you unlock a new character, and building them out is actually really fun. You can definitely feel the difference every time you unlock a new talent. These are significant upgrades, and sometimes they give you new moves. It's really awesome. Shame that to get the points to level up, you actually have to play the levels. And at some point I got so bored with the game that I started sprinting through the levels, not killing any of the hollows along the way, and the game actually lets you do that just fine. Your dash even has a hitbox, so you might kill some of the weaker enemies along the way. And while this made levels a lot more pleasant to me, like I was skipping through all the boring enemies to get to the cool boss fights. When I got to the boss fights were not cool most of the time. And that also meant that I wasn't leveling up as much as I probably was supposed to, but that ended up being actually fine, because difficulty-wise, this is a baby game made for babies. It's so mind-numbingly easy to beat the story in either normal or hard difficulty, and it's not until you get some of the missions that difficulty starts to spike, when they give you 2 bosses to fight at the same time. That's when the game starts to get tough, especially if you didn't level up your character ahead of time. But just like most anime games, it's all about finding that one broken thing that somehow made it through playtesting into the final game. And it wasn't long until I found the king of Hueco Mundo. This guy can put a poison bubble around him and he deals so much damage. It is ridiculous. 2 bosses simultaneously? Give me 3 bosses. It really is no problem. And I bet there are some other methods. This was just the first one I found. But yeah, that's about everything cool that the game does. It has some unique ideas for movesets. Movement feels great. Oh, and the transition from the loading screen into a level, I absolutely love those. Some ultimate animations also look neat, but I absolutely hate ultimates in this game. They pretty much activate frame 0. There is no way to avoid them. The attack happens during the animation, so even if you're not doing anything, you cannot block once you see it coming. And even if you're already blocking by the time the animation happens, I think they're all unblockable, so it wouldn't matter either way. But I feel like I needed to see this game for myself, and now I have. Bleach is coming back. There's a good chance we'll have a new Bleach game in the future, and I want to be able to talk about it. And to do that, I have to know what's been done before. Now I know. The Metacritic page is absolutely right. That's pretty much what I would rate this game. Actually, should I rank Bleach games after I'm done with Naruto? That means I would have to finish this. And probably some worse games as well. Yeah, that sounds exactly like the kind of dumb thing I would do. This was a big cash grab, and it is not what I would like to see for the future of Bleach games. And guys, in your opinion, what is the best Bleach game out there? I don't see a lot of people talking about Bleach games very often. Are they all bad? What's your personal favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to check out Bespoke Post. Code Globku20 for a 20% discount off your first box. The link is down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!